So OpenAI has released ChatGPT 5, one of the most anticipated large language models of this year. It's out now, it's rolling out. I've got access to it on my phone and in the Windows app, but not yet in the browser, but I'm sure that will change in the next 24 hours. But it's there for everybody, including those on the free tier. Now, in this video, I want to tell you 5 things that are absolutely amazing about ChatGPT 5 and 3 things that are not quite so impressive. So if you want to find out more, please let me explain. So the first thing that's amazing about ChatGPT 5 is it's one model. Now previously you had to pick, between GPT 4.0, 03 mini, 04 mini, 03, all depending on what subscription you had and all that kind of stuff. And when you click down on the model list, and there were just so many to choose from. Some were better at coding, some were better at Quicken, some were cheaper. It was really quite complicated. Now technically there is a ChatGPT 5 mini and a nano if you're calling this over the API. So you've got a program that wants to talk to the models and then gives you the response. But when you're using the user interface, the web interface, or the Windows program, your Android program, whatever, then you basically now just choose ChatGPT 5 and it kind of picks what it is, what model it should use, how it should do things internally. It's kind of also got this thinking mode that it can switch on or off. It decides that depending on what kind of question you're asking. If you're just asking it a simple thing like, is Paris the capital of France? It doesn't need to think about that, just gives you the answer. There's also a way of forcing it to do some thinking as well if you want to inside of the interface there. So now we just talk about using ChatGPT 5 and that really should simplify things a lot. Now another good thing about it, as well as being able to decide whether it needs to think or not, it can also decide whether it needs to be grounded in web results, whether it needs to go out onto the web and check the thing. So if you're asking for information that it hasn't got, for example, I asked it for information about the best gaming CPU if you want to build a new PC. It doesn't just say, well, I know that. It went off and kind of read some tech websites to see which ones were recommended and then kind of gave you its own answer. So a lot of the results are automatically grounded in the web results when you ask it a question that it thinks it needs to go out and check the web for you. The third thing that makes it better is it's faster. If you actually measure the speed against different previous versions of ChatGPT, this one is going to give you quicker results. So of course that's always good. I remember back in the day when we were dealing with the very early models, you could watch the characters coming out, and that was even using their cloud services. Now it's just pretty amazingly fast. So it's faster, and of course that's got to be good. Now in terms of capabilities, I threw all of my questions at it and basically answered them all. Even the very complicated question about measuring 15 minutes when you only have an 11-minute egg timer and a 7-minute egg timer. How do you measure 15 minutes? It got the answer right straight away, and not only that, it gave you quite a succinct answer without going through lots of, well, flip this and then don't flip that and then do that and do that. So it actually did a good job. Now I won't go through all the questions I've asked. You can see in my previous videos the kind of things I've asked it to do. Alice has 5 brothers and 3 sisters. How many sisters does Alice's brother have? Got all that right, got the egg timer questions right, gets any kind of question about, summarizing text or giving you creative ideas, it gets it all right. So its capabilities are pretty amazing. So this is a big jump in terms of capabilities, as we would come to expect as each model has got better. Of course, we've got thinking now, we've got grounded in web results. So it really is turning into a well-rounded model that can do so many different things. And the fifth thing, which is hard to test and I'm sure is not completely resolved, is it does hallucinate less. Now there are going to be examples where people are going to find it hallucinating. That is just part of the problem of the way large language models are designed. But I tried to ask it all kinds of odd questions, trying to trick it into things, that previous models would have fallen over with. And it just kept telling me, well, I can't tell you about that because it doesn't exist, but, let's think about it conceptually and then it might give me an idea. Or, I even tried, give me the names of the kings and queens of England that, won gold medals at the Olympics. And in the past, it would kind of just start spewing out names because that's, it was hallucinating. But now I go, well, actually, no, that doesn't exist. There are no kings and queens that won gold medals at the Olympics or whatever. I tried all kinds of ones, legal cases, moral cases, trick questions, historical quick questions, things in the future. I couldn't, if it didn't know the answer, it would say, well, actually, I don't know about that. Let's think about it. Let's imagine it. Let's explore it. It would say the concepts, the idea, but it wouldn't just go ahead and spew out nonsense. Now, as I said, there is going to be hallucination. That is just part and parcel of how large language models are designed, but it seems to be significantly reduced in this model, which of course is a good thing. So those are the 5 things that I have found really, really amazing about ChatGPT 5. Now, what are the 3 things that are not so good? Well, it's not there yet in terms of being able to do absolutely everything. Now, before I go into the 3 examples I want to give you, I will, completely acknowledge that we raise the bar every time. If it could count the number of R's in the word strawberry, we all clapped our hands and said, yeah, this is amazing. Look, it can count the number. We're raising the bar. We're now asking it to solve complex problems, and we're asking it to do more complicated things. And when it can't do it, we go, oh, well, you see, it can't do that. But the point, of course, we just keep raising the bar. Do we even have the right to expect that? Is it correct to raise that bar so high that we expect it to be able to answer these questions? So the first question, this is one of the standard questions I've been giving the models from all the vendors over the last few months, is I'd like it to write a chess engine. Now, a chess engine isn't the chess board part, which just displays all the pieces and a nice coloured board and all that. The engine is the bit that works out what the moves are and tries to win a game. Now, I give it quite a good specification. I tell it how I want that engine to work. I give it some clues about the kind of things it should do. Now, one of the good things is that the last couple of models from OpenAI and from others, they do manage to produce something, and the chess engine is functional in the fact that you can run it, you can interface with it using the universal chess interface, and it will kind of give you a result. But when it comes to playing, it's a little weak. Now, most of them failed because they would just make illegal moves. Now, in this one, it makes some legal moves and then it kind of gets stuck. So we're not there yet, and you can say to these models, do this complicated task, something that will be 500,000 lines of code, depending on how it's going to do it, and it just goes ahead and does it. If I broke down the task into smaller parts, I'm sure I could hand hold it through making a better chess engine. I could guide it at each step. Now let's write a function that does this. Now let's write a module that does this. Now let's put some functionality that does this, and kind of stitch it all together. But as a one shot, create this, here's your kind of specification, here's your outline of what you've got to do. It wasn't able to do it yet. The second area where it's quite weak is still in how it processes images. So there is an image that actually one of my viewers sent me of some dice being thrown onto a table. And the question is, what is the value on the upper face? And of course, the problem with these images is that often 2 or 3 faces are visible at one time. Now, we as humans, if we're playing any kind of game, even when we were children playing a dice game, you can read the top values really, really quickly without any problem. Now, ChatGPT 5 still can't read the top faces on a die. Now, of course, it's dealing with a 2D image. It's not got 3D vision like we have. It can't move its head around to say, oh, is that a 2 or 3? Oh, I see. So it is weaker in that sense. But also, you're looking at this image, you can tell me what the top values of the dice are without any problem. So these are some of the things that are going to need to be improved. Why are we saying this? Because ultimately, of course, we're looking to be able to create generalized artificial intelligence, which means that we're looking for it to be able to handle things like this. Can it come and sit at a table and play a dice game with me? Yes or no? Today, no. And a third one that's really important is I asked it to create a game of tic-tac-toe, noughts and crosses for those from the British Isles, that is self-learning. So it's not just write the algorithm that works out. Basically, it has 2 modes. You ask it to play multiple games and learn a strategy, and then once it's learned a strategy, you then put it into playing mode and you play it. Now, first of all, again, just like the chess engine, all the code was written, it compiled without error, it runs and does something, okay, which in itself is mind-blowing if we think about going back just even 2 years from now, 3 years ago, none of this stuff was even remotely possible. So this is mind-blowing, the fact I can say, create me automatically a tic-tac-toe game that learns to play, and then you can play a human. It's absolutely amazing. You can do that. The code is perfect in the sense it's syntactically perfect. It runs, okay, it brings up the menu, it tells me it wants to start training, it goes through the training mode. I can then play it, but the game it produces was actually quite weak. I was able to beat it quite quickly. Now, why is this important? Because ultimately, one of the things that we're going to, this is the kind of the top of the mountain, the peak in this, is that you want AI systems that are able to help in the development of other AI systems. And at the moment, learning a game like tic-tac-toe is a relatively small task, and I want an AI to write another machine learning program, right? An AI to write an AI. It's not really an AI, of course, but you understand what I mean. I want one AI to write something else that can learn, and that in itself starts an iterative process. And we're not there yet. The game it produced, as I say, it wrote the Python, it does what I asked it to do, but the game it produced wasn't very good. Now, maybe you're saying, well, come on, Gary, you're being just, you're just asking too much here. Yes and no, because I said, I'm raising the standard. Do I have the right to raise that standard? Am I have the right to expect these things? Good question. But assuming I do, let's assume that the standard is something that it could be achievable, then this is an indication that we're not resolving that problem yet. Okay, so there you have it. There are my thoughts on ChatGPT 5. Love to know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you like these kind of videos, then stick around by subscribing to the channel. And also, please do check out my Patreon page. Okay, that's it. I'll see you in the next one.